Hi, my wonderful movie peeps. Paramount just finished off their CinemaCon panel for 2023. It's been a pretty long and semi-interesting week. Some good, some bad, some meh. I mentioned yesterday how I thought the Universal panel was probably the best presentation out of all the studios in terms of announcements and reveals. Paramount might actually have just beaten them. I'm not going to say by a lot, but there was actually a lot of cool stuff they revealed in here that I'm excited to talk about with you guys. So that's exactly what I'll be doing here for you guys, breaking down the Paramount panel, but I want to hear your opinion down below. Which of the projects that Paramount mentioned or talk about got you the most excited? The only other studio presentation left for CinemaCon week is Lionsgate, but I'm not too sure how much they're going to be revealing or talking about. If it's not enough for a full breakdown panel, I'll just make it part of the next side flick. Without further ado, let's get into this. Don't forget, timestamps will be in the description. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment something sweet. Alright, so with the Paramount presentation, it started off with an exec getting on stage and again talking about the importance of going to theaters, the common theme we see every presentation start with. Some quick things he mentioned off the bat before he got into specific movies. He did confirm that, again, we are getting Sonic the Hedgehog 3. We have known this for a while. I am extremely excited for it. Having Shadow the Hedgehog in there and just the level of hype the Mario movie brought in, Sonic 3 has got some big shoes to fill. He also made it official that they are going to be working on a sequel for the movie Smile. That's something that we have heard has been in the works. Now it's nice to know it's official. I like that first Smile movie. I'm curious to what they would do with a sequel. I would want to see more of that freaky deaky creature by the very end, because that was one of the horror films that surprised me. I thought it was going to be generic crap, and it was actually pretty good. Bringing us then to start focusing on specific movies and giving them their time to shine, starting off with some animated films, having Seth Rogen take up the stage so we can talk about his upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, Mutant Mayhem. Seeing some of the photos of what he was doing on stage, just bringing out a bunch of kids in turtle costumes, talking about the fun of the film, how they'll really be focusing on the teenage aspect of these turtles this time around. He even joked that this will be one of the first movies he's made where you can take your family to. As far as what footage they showed off here, thanks to Discussing Films, who has a breakdown, the footage was extended from the already released teaser. Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, and Leonardo all want to be accepted by society instead of being labeled as freaks, so they choose to take on a life of crime fighting. The main villain of the film is Superfly, voiced by Ice-T. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Ice Cube. With Bebop and Rocksteady being his two biggest bodyguards. When they try to take on Superfly and his crew, they actually end up making friendly introductions since they're already mutants. They didn't know other mutants existed, so they chum it up in a hilarious meeting scene. Superfly's team is made up of colorful mutants that are all kind of animals. If you remember when the first trailer came out and they announced the voice casting, I did a whole video breaking down all the different mutants that we'll be seeing going down in this movie, and now we get a better idea of that context. The Ninja Turtles will become friendly with these mutants, and there might be some sort of like Civil War divide there. I can definitely see them going, we're the mutant people, we're looked as freaks, we should just take over this city and avoid humans, while the turtles might be differently and be like, yeah, we're mutants, but we appreciate the humans. We like the humans. So it'll be interesting to see the turtles kind of go against their own kind, mutants, to protect humans. I feel like that sounds for some interesting storytelling. I've seen already some backlash for the film where people be like, they don't even act like teenagers. They act like they're 9 or 10 years old. To me, I feel like these are obvious preteens, and it's a good way to set up the franchise so we can grow up with these turtles in the coming movies. From there, the next animated film they started talking about is the Transformers movie. Now, earlier this morning, we did get released a brand new trailer for Transformers Rise of the Beast. I did a separate video breaking that trailer down because it was a pretty sweet one. We get to see humans put on Transformer exosuits and join the battles. They also reveal the big bad of the series, Unicron, along with some other awesome action sequences, so you guys can check that out when you have the time. But this animated movie that is titled Transformers 1, it'll be released July 19th, 2024, and we already found out the plot a couple weeks back. The movie will be centered on the origin of Optimus Prime and Megatron, their friendship, and how eventually they grew apart on separate sides of the war. Here they decided to announce the official voice casting of these iconic characters with Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime. I know we have forgiven Chris Pratt and we embrace him as Mario now, at least I do, but that gives me the same vibe of a person I would have never suspected to play an iconic character. Optimus Prime's voice is so iconic. But again, this is a younger version, so I understand why they didn't go with the usual voice. The other cast members include Brian Tyree Henry as Megatron. I like that. Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee. Keegan-Michael Key as any character is honestly perfect. He knocked it out of the park with Toad, so I know he's gonna make Bumblebee fun. Scarlett Johansson as Alita, John Hamm as Sentinel Prime, and Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion. These will be our main main group of characters that will be following along in the series. The way they describe this thing sounds pretty epic. I know people turn their backs when they hear animated film, but this is a story that they've thought about doing for the longest time, and they said it would have just been way too expensive if they tried making it live action. The movie would have cost $1 billion. So animated was kind of the way to go, and they're hoping this will be the first in a trilogy. I don't mind this voice casting. I hope the movie's cool, though. I can't wait to see what the animation style they're going to go with looks like. I know people say Spider-Verse, but I just don't think that fits the Transformers vibe, my opinion. Continuing on with animation here, they talked a little bit about the new upcoming SpongeBob SquarePants movie that'll be going to theaters that is titled The SpongeBob Movie Search for SquarePants, releasing May 23rd, 2025. They didn't have much to show about the movie, but they did give us the plot of the film, where it'll be about SpongeBob facing off against the Flying Dutchman. Ooh, you have my money, baby. They also said this will be the biggest SpongeBob movie they have ever made. Those are some pretty strong words, and SpongeBob fans were kind of let down with Sponge on the Run, so expectations I would think are kind of high right now for this, and having the Flying Dutchman as kind of the main villain, I love that. Some of the most memorable SpongeBob episodes I can think of from my childhood involve the Flying Dutchman, like the one where they're on his ship and they go through the perfume department, or they scratch up the side of his boat. Like, I love that episode. I wonder if they'll change up the animation from Sponge on the Run, if they'll keep it similar to Sponge Out of Water. I don't know, but it's cool that we're getting a SpongeBob movie in theaters, because as you guys might have seen, I did a little YouTube short about it. There is a SpongeBob movie going straight to Netflix called Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, where it'll mainly be focused on Sandy Cheeks, featuring SpongeBob as they go to Texas to fight off some villainous threat. Nickelodeon loves to milk SpongeBob, so I'm curious to hear what you guys think about these two projects. From there, they moved on to talk about the upcoming animated Avatar: The Last Airbender movie that'll also be going to theaters. This is supposed to be canon with the actual animated show, and they didn't show any footage, but they did reveal the first photo of the group, where they're described to be older looking, like in their late 20s, early 30s, all of them seeming 100% accurate to the show, except for Zuko. He's said to look slightly different. I know there's a lot of Avatar the Airbender fans. I keep telling myself I'm gonna go back and rewatch the series because I never saw it as a kid, but I just haven't had the time to do that. But I know that's exciting for some people. Then we got the announcement that we will be getting yet another Smurfs movie. This will be releasing February 14th, 2025, and Rihanna is set to play Smurfette. Other than that, the movie is described to be about the origins of where Smurfs come from, and more specifically, what it even means to be a Smurf. I remember enjoying the Smurf stuff when I was a kid, but as an adult, I just can't get into it that much. Hopefully this will be cool, but hey, another Smurf movie. Next up, here's something to get super excited for: another Paw Patrol movie starring Kim Kardashian and her 2 kids. From there, they ended talking about their animated stuff and moved on to other upcoming live-action movies. This is where they decided to focus on Martin Scorsese's upcoming movie called Killers of the Flower Moon. This is a movie that stars Leonardo DiCaprio in it, and just reading off one of the reactions of someone who saw it there, incredible trailer for Killers of the Flower Moon, which definitely positions Leonardo DiCaprio as the lead. Jesse Plemons is the lawman who comes to investigate a series of Osage murders, shows up towards end of the trailer, looks epic. It's going to be a hell of a year between this, Oppenheimer, and The Killer. Look, it's a Martin Scorsese movie with Leonardo DiCaprio surrounding murders and mystery. Sign me the heck up for this thing. They also showed off the first trailer for the Bob Marley biopic. This is something I didn't even know was happening or in the works. It'll be titled Bob Marley One Love. It'll be released in theaters January 12th, 2024. I know Bob Marley, but I don't know much about his life, so it'd be kind of cool to see this biopic. Next up, something I am extremely excited for: the Quiet Place prequel titled A Quiet Place Day One. They showed off the first bit of footage here, so reading off the description: thanks to discussing films, we follow Lupita Nyong'o, everyday citizen type of character, as she's riding the bus in New York City. Suddenly, all traffic stops and people are seen walking out of their cars and staring at the skies. A meteor took out half the bus Lupita's in, and she slowly walks towards the torn half of the bus. Most people surround the scene and stand in the middle of the street as they look up to the sky and witness a meteor shower, which is of course all the aliens arriving on Earth for the first time. What follows next is this quick montage of more of the film's action, which reveals Digimon House's returning character from A Quiet Place Part 2, Alex Wolff's character running in fear, and Joseph Quinn's character, who was Eddie in Stranger Things, screeching in pain. The brief footage highlights how humans still don't know about the aliens' attraction to sound, so naturally, crowds of people are heard and seen getting taken down in great numbers. Ooh, that sounds fantastic, man. I love the Quiet Place movies. I think they're a lot of fun, super suspenseful, and the intrigue with the aliens is some of the coolest stuff. And I always get really intrigued with the aliens. So with this prequel, what they want to do, going back to the very first day these aliens arrived and seeing what it's like in a big city, New York City, where it's just crowded of people and noise. That sounds big. You know, the first two Quiet Place movies were kind of a small town thing. Very few people, kind of spread out, homes far apart from each other. I like the idea of the New York setting. It seems like it's going to be bigger in scope. I can already see some of those claw monsters running up some buildings. Having to see these humans discover their weaknesses, you know, also having to adjust with being completely silent. Oh, this could be great. The next movie in here sounds super fun and interesting. It's a movie starring John Krasinski and Ryan Reynolds. The film right now is titled If, which stands for Imaginary Friends, where the movie is about a young girl who starts to see everyone's imaginary friends who have been abandoned by other kids they've helped. Basically, think about Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, except only one kid is able to see all the imaginary friends. It'll be a mix of like live action and some like CGI cartoonish type stuff. Ryan Reynolds described it as him making a live action Pixar movie. Some of the imaginary friends will be voiced by people like Steve Carell, Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Maya Rudolph, Phoebe Waller, Vince Vaughn, Sam Rockwell, a lot of awesome people. That sounds like a really fun movie. Ending their panel off here with talk about Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, where they did reveal the movie will be released 2 days earlier on July 12th, and then showcasing 20 minutes of footage. Look, I'll be honest with you guys, I really like the Mission Impossible franchise, and 20 minutes is a lot of that movie, and I kind of want to save whatever surprises they have, so I'm not going to read it, but it is out there if you're curious to read the 20-minute description. But apologies, I just kind of want to be surprised by that. Other than that, guys, that was Paramount's panel right there. I think it was a lot of exciting, fresh stuff, a lot of new things we didn't know were coming. To me, I think this might actually be the best panel so far, but I'd like to hear from you guys. Leave me your thoughts on the Paramount CinemaCon panel. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.